Kia ora. For the weekend, we have got some severe weather moving in from both sides of the country. If we take a look at the satellite picture, we can see it quite nicely, this swirl of cloud out towards the west. That's an area of low pressure up there, and that's bringing a fair bit of wet and windy weather in towards the northern parts of the country, while down south, another front is set to bring more wet weather in towards parts of Westland, but also across in towards Canterbury as well. If we take a look at the pressure chart, you can see those areas of low pressure up in the northwest. Wrapping around that, there's that heavy rainfall in through Northland, Auckland, the Coromandel and in towards the Bay of Plenty. While down south, we have got more rainfall feeding in towards parts of Canterbury and also up in towards places like the northwestern parts of Nelson and Buller. And so because of that, we have got plenty of watches and warnings in place, both in terms of rainfall and for that wind as well. But the rain you can see picked out in these purple colours, where we're going to find the heaviest rainfall. So up north, we're going to look at places like Northland, Auckland, the Coromandel, parts of the Bay of Plenty, up in towards the Kaimai Ranges, but also across in towards that eastern part of the Bay of Plenty and up in towards those northern parts of Gisborne as well. For the South Island, as that next front moves up, we're going to find more wet weather, pushing in towards those southern parts of Canterbury, up in towards the ranges of Westland, and also up in towards the northern parts of Buller and across in towards the Nelson region as well. So we have got plenty of severe weather warnings already in place as we go through the rest of, say, Saturday, and even through in towards the very first part of Sunday as well, for places like Nelson, west of Motueka. So we have got plenty of those. Like I say, we've got those warnings up in the far north from, say, Northland right the way down in towards the Coromandel and the Bay of Plenty. Also extended those warnings today through towards those eastern parts of the Bay of Plenty and up in towards the northern parts of Gisborne, parts of Canterbury as this feature moves up, and a watch for those northern parts of Canterbury as well. There's more information on those watches and warnings, as always, on the Met Service website, and we will be updating them as we need to throughout the weekend. So keep an eye on the forecasts as well. But it's not just that wet weather, we've also got some stronger winds as well as the next area of low pressure moves in. But with that heavy rainfall, we could find those rivers and streams rising rapidly. There could be some surface flooding and perhaps some slips on some of those higher, steeper roads as well. So bear that in mind if you're travelling. And as always, stay up to date with the latest forecast as we go through the weekend. Now, as that low pressure moves in, you can see those northeasterly winds across the likes of Northland and Auckland, the Coromandel, pushing that rain in as well. And that's something else to bear in mind is perhaps some coastal inundation in some of those spots as well, places like Tamaki Drive. Keep a close eye on that, and again, be aware of the conditions before you head out on your journeys. But we are going to find some stronger winds as we go through the rest of Saturday and through in towards that very first part of Sunday. Now, the wind warnings are for places like Auckland, where we could find as much as gusts of 120 kilometres per hour as we go through the rest of the daytime today and through in towards that very first part of Sunday. Now, compared to what we saw in the last few weeks with that southwesterly event, it's not quite to the same level, but it is a different direction and still rather a windy story as we go through the rest of Saturday through towards Sunday. Also some stronger winds through Northland and also that eastern part of Waikato, particularly around about and west of the Kaimai Range as we go through again in towards the very first part of Sunday morning as well. Now, with these strong wind warnings, again, it could cause damage to some trees. Any loose structures lying around could get picked up and blown around, so keep that in mind as well. And as always, stay up to date with the latest forecasts, the latest watches and warnings. And you can find all that information, plus the latest radars and satellites at metservice.com.